Ed?
It is Ed.
I'll take it. Take it first. Sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
My first question. Your proposed county budget for the next year is $145 million. You said that $103 million is going to fulfill some 200 state and federally mandated programs. If that's the case, how much influence does the county government really have in why
Wow. Is that for me, Tim?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Yeah, let's talk about the unfunded mandates and the burden that Albany has shifted down here on us because for some reason or other, they just can't seem to get the job done up there. So for every dollar that we send up to Albany, 71 cents of it goes to pay for these programs that we have no control over. And I'll example Medicaid. We have 6,000 plus Medicaid eligible recipients in Putnam County, and that costs us $10 million on the local level. And if you add the state and the federal numbers to that, it's almost $100 million. So what do we do about it while we wait for Albany to do anything at all? Well, our administration got in front of it, and we brought in a consulting team, and we started to review the Medicaid applications, and in 2 quarters, by doing just a little bit of paying attention to some of the gamers and the legacy Medicaid recipients, we've made some really big progress. We saved $650,000 in cost avoidance and Medicaid fraud. And we're going to continue that war on Medicaid fraud while Albany continues to dish around on what mandates they want to take responsibility for. That's just one example of the burden of Medicaid and of the mandates in our county.
Mr. Oliverio, you've been on the legislature for almost 2 decades. What specific action or piece of legislation can you point to as a key accomplishment for yours?
Well, the introduction of the park program to the county, safety regulations governing entity, increasing the evacuation mileage, and also, well, a whole myriad of health and safety issues. I also fought when 2 transportation lines were cut a couple of years ago, got people to appear at our committee meetings and had those lines resurrected. The most important lines in the county were cut. Also spearheading many of our, again, as I said, health and safety programs such as the prescription card that we sent out to all our residents. That was done through my committee. I also have fought every year not to pull money from our surplus, which gets you in trouble over time, just to officially lower the taxes. I've been an advocate. I've been a watchdog on that legislature. As a sole Democrat, I've been able to persuade my fellow legislators to do the right thing when the right thing was necessary to be done. There are so many different things I've had my hands in and worked with that it's hard to list them all, but that's a sample.
Mary Ellen, I'll extend the same courtesy to you. What has been your greatest accomplishment while in office?
Well, I think what we were looking to do was to regain the confidence of the people of Putnam County and to let them know that they had a leadership that lived the way that they did. You know, I go up on the 3rd floor every day, a taxpayer like everybody else does. That's how I get up into my office every day and recognizing my social and fiscal responsibilities as the county executive. So what have we done in the last 3 years? We've met the cap 3 times. This budget, we delivered a really good budget, Sam. I heard you complimented us on Monday night as having delivered the best budget you've seen in 18 years. And I want to thank you. Well, I think we delivered the best budget in 18 years. How about that? Okay, so, you know, and we've underspent our budget in the last 2 years. And remember, that's while managing the increase in the Albany mandates. We've also introduced some really exciting programs. We have the pilot program, Putnam Invest in Leadership of Tomorrow, where we take the millennials, the best and the brightest, our kids that were born with that computer chip, and we've put them in different roles and functions in county government, saving thousands of dollars and at the same time building a succession plan. We're very, very proud of that. We've also rebranded our transportation system, that anemic, archaic $5 million boondoggle, where empty buses just drove around in a catatotic loop. We've rebranded it. Putnam Moves. We're focusing on mobility, getting our veterans to Montrose and Castle Point, getting our seniors on shopping trips, getting our kids involved, bringing the Chamber of Commerce in to advertise, to lower the cost of the system, and to help assist them in advertising their businesses.
The question
And that's just a few of the things, really.
Supported by the legislature as well.
Oh, of course, absolutely,
Thank you.
absolutely. But we initiated those programs,
Not all
Sam,
of them.
and once
Not
you
all of
guys
them.
vetted through them,
Not all, no.
you were right there
Mary
with
Ellen
it.
and Sam, the question of bonding has come up tonight over and over again. How much debt is the county taking on? We said early tonight in July, the legislature approved spending $4 million on the Putnam Bike Trail, $411,000 of that financed by county taxpayers through bonds. Another project, the Morningthorpe Bridge, needed $500,000 in bonds, which lawmakers approved in August. Is the county going too far into hock to spend beyond its means, or is this simply smart budgeting to spread long-term projects out over their expected life? Sam, you've been a critic of this. Tell us your views, please.
Yeah, my problem is not so much with bonding. I supported the bonding of the purchase of the Tilly Foster Farm to prevent 310 houses from being built. I supported the purchase of the golf course to prevent 280 houses from being built. That's wise bonding, and that's long-range bonding. My difficulty is that when we wave that credit card around, that bonding credit card, and buy the things we like, but not the things we need, that's what upsets me. All the expenses that we've had recently on trucks, on renovations to the golf course, to Tilly Foster, could have been paid with our excess sales tax. That's fact. Instead, we bonded this. Now, right now, times are pretty good financially. We have a great credit rating. But you know how quickly that credit rating can be eroded? In a matter of literally months if we have a downturn in this economy. We're $70 million in debt. $70 million, that's half our budget. $15 million in the past 3 years. I'm not against bonding for reasonable long-range projects like Tilly Foster, the purchase of that, or the golf course. I am against bonding for trucks, which wear out in 5 to 10 years, and other disposable things when you have the cash to purchase it. Each and every one of you work on a budget. Each and every one of you have a certain amount of money you need to spend. When you exceed your credit, when you exceed the amount on that card, that gets scary. And we're doing that right now, or pretty close to it.
Mary Ellen, what about you?
Our administration came up on the third floor after 20 years of one particular administration who never bothered to purchase new snow equipment. And Sam, you understand that with the polar vortex and the weather the way it is, that we needed to make that investment. And we also acquired we also acquired a golf course and a farm that was sadly in disrepair when we took it on. And it was also unsustainable to the taxpayers. And as each and every one of us know as homeowners, you have to make capital improvements and you have to reinvest dollars. That was something that we faced when we came on board. We had to clean up basically 20 years of projects that had been left on the table or de-obligated. And when you talk about projects like the Morningthorpe Bridge, I know my good friends in Southeast, they're grateful that we took that step. And we partnered with the DOT and brought money down here, and yes, we did have to contribute some monies to it. Now, when you talk about bonding, I want to say this is the fact. This administration has bonded less than what was on the books the day we came in office. That is a fact. And I'm going to deal only in facts this evening, okay? We have also maintained a very, very high AA2 Moody credit rating because we leave enough money in the bank that gives us that solid ground. That is our report card, the Moody credit rating. And so we are told by the experts that we are doing the right things. We are making the right fiscal choices. We are meeting our social and fiscal responsibility on the third floor. Thank you.
You've advocated reducing the county executive salary during an interview with Tim Greco on Focus on Phillipstown.
That was nice. Thank you, Tim.
What should it be, and wouldn't that just attract less qualified people?
No, I don't believe that. I think in tough economic times, and we're coming out of this, finally, this great recession. We can feel it getting a little bit better, increased house sales, things like that. But we're still all suffering. Our school taxes are onerous, they're killing us. And one of the things, first thing I'm going to do, if God willing, I get elected, is to go to Albany personally and start asking my fellow county executives to advocate to tie our school tax to income. But that's a whole nother story. The bottom line, and I believe in that very strongly, the bottom line is that, just quickly, just rephrase that again.
It's, what should the salary of the county
Yeah.
executive be?
The bottom line is that in these times that are still rough for many of us, we need to tighten the belt. And the county executive needs to lead by example. $102,000 for most of us here in the Hudson Valley is a very nice salary. It's 3 times what the legislators would make. So I'm very comfortable cutting that salary down, and I do believe it will attract the very best people. I mean, I'm running for the position. I'm not great, but I think I'm pretty good. So, you know, I think it's very fair.
What would you cut it down to?
102,000.
102,000?
3 times what a legislator makes. Yeah.
Mary Ellen, what's your thoughts on
Yeah,
that?
Sam talks about school taxes and how we're going to get in front of school taxes. And Sam, you've been in the school system, you've been an educator for 20 years. I asked you this.
33.
Have you 33? In your 33 years, have you ever gone in and said, you know what, guys, lower my salary because the school taxes are too high and the taxpayers can't afford
Yes,
to pay it? Have you ever done that?
Yes, I have. As an administrator, I have.
Okay.
Matter of fact, I didn't take a pay
It
raise
is-
voluntarily for 4
Sam,
years in a row.
Sam.
And that
What's that?
Finish your thoughts on this topic.
No, I find this to be nothing more than a very frivolous campaign spin and a soundbite. And you know, when you have the record that Sam Oliverio has for accomplishments, and he's looking to deliver a message, to me, it begs the question: are you insulting the taxpayers and the constituents with this, Sam? I mean, do you really believe that this is something that's going to move this county forward, that it's going to get us in the direction? Is it going to keep us the safest county in New York State? Is it going to develop the economy? Is it going to get people back to work? Because that's what we're supposed to be doing here in county government.
You lead by example. That's what a leader does. And you got to be the first to take the step.
Let's turn back to the mandates for a moment. Politicians bemoan the fact that Albany continues to force the county to shoulder the burden of unfunded mandates. Yet Putnam County legislators continue to send a home rule request to Albany asking to extend the county's 4% sales tax rate instead of letting it drop to 3%. As one reader told us, politicians sound like hypocrites by blaming Albany for budget woes, but continue to ask Albany for permission to raise taxes on local residents. He continues, if elected, will you stop this addition to tax increases since 2005 and make Putnam County small business owners competitive to Connecticut and Westchester County? Mary Ellen?
Sure. You know, there's an $11 million point for every 1%. It would equal an $11 million deficit in the budget. And when Albany handed us this year $2.9 million in increase in mandates, it's really tough to realistically make that move and not pass it on to the property tax owners. So, you know, by promoting economic growth and development and at the same time dual tracking and getting Albany to take on more responsibility for EI and pre-K, or better yet, let us do it. Let us handle the transportation, where I know we can do it much cheaper, and we've asked them, we've shown them business models where we would pay the families a certain stipend, which would dramatically decrease the transportation costs for EI and pre-K. If we could just get Albany to listen and look at some of the efficiencies like we've done with our war on Medicaid, like we've done on our war on workers' comp. We went from 62 workers' comp cases to 13, just because we put a closer eye and a more diligent look and a harder line on workers' comp. You know, if Albany took a lesson from my administration over the last 3 years and looked at how we've delivered services more efficiently at a lower cost to the taxpayers, we would be a heck of a lot better off in New York State right now.
Sales tax supports our property taxes, and I hate property tax. Nobody should have their tax rate based upon the property they own. It cripples our seniors, it cripples our young people. That's why so many people, when they hit 65 or 60 or retirement age, whatever it may be, move to Florida. They get the heck out of New York because our property taxes are killing us. If we tied all our taxes income, we'd be much better off. And again, I had mentioned that earlier with the school tax. I'm a big advocate of tying that to income. As far as sales tax go, what it does is it assists the residents of Putnam County in keeping their county property taxes at a lower rate. How does it do that? People from Connecticut come in and purchase something. People from Westchester, from Dutchess, from Rockland, from throughout the state are contributing to that sales tax, not just Putnam residents. This is a tax that hits everybody, every single individual that purchases anything in this county. And that's important so that it can help us lower the property tax burden. But the big problem, and I agree with you, Mary, are these unfunded mandates. They're ridiculous. And the most ridiculous one, we talked about it earlier, is that Common Core. I work in a school district. We have to add close to $500,000 just to generate the new textbooks, the training, the tests that are all attached to it. What a waste of your money.
Yeah.
Address the east-west split in Putnam. Should the county provide more services on the western side, will our hands ever stretch across the Taconic?
Is that mine?
Yes,
Thank you. You know, one of the first initiatives our administration implemented was renaming Route 301. We thought if we returned it back to its a historic name, the Hudson River Turnpike, it might bring some focus and attention to Route 301. Now, I've lived 500 feet off of Route 301 my entire life. We used to come down that hill and take our bikes literally out west towards Cold Spring. And the first trip I ever made when I got my driver's license was out to Cold Spring, because it was almost like the other end of the world for all of us who are 16 years old. There is nothing more exciting on the books right now for the economy of Putnam County than the Butterfield Hospital project. There is nothing more exciting than being able to deliver services to the part of the county that pays the highest in taxes and gets the least amount of county services. It's a wonderful opportunity to give our seniors a state-of-the-art nutrition center. And certainly I'd like to take the advantage right now to thank Beth and Roger Ailes for giving us the $500,000 of such a generous donation, which you wouldn't even see from the federal government these days. And I want to take the opportunity to generate further revenue by offering all of the programs over there that the county offers, such as the clerk's office, where you can get a passport, a driver's license, and you don't have to drive 45 minutes in and 45 minutes back, and a half a tank of gas. I'd also like to be able to put the Women's Resource Center over there, because they're struggling so hard to keep up with the demands of the domestic violence cases. The western part of the county has been underserved for way too long, and the Butterfield project is a wonderful example of stimulating the economy and bringing jobs to this county.
Sam?
Pleasant Valley has a great senior center. I advocated for that and worked very hard with then County Exec Bob Bondi, Carmelo Santos, many other individuals. We also have a sheriff's substation. We have a lot of services in Putnam Valley. You go a little bit to the west, and Phillipstown is lacking. I have to agree with the county exec. We need services on the western side, and Butterfield provides us with this great opportunity. My only caveat is that I'd like to do a condo arrangement with the developer, Mr. Golaro, and convince him, please, lease us for 5 to 10 years with the option to buy. I'm a firm believer, you own, you don't rent. Because in bad times, if the economy tumbles and the rent has to drastically increase, now you're faced with what? Throwing your seniors out, stopping the services you've provided. I love the idea of occupying Butterfield. The only thing I ask is, let's do a lease buy. And I'm hearing that that may be arranged, and I would be very happy with that. I totally support increased services on the western side.
We'll now turn to closing statements from each candidate. County Executive Odell.
Thank Thank you. Thank you to the Putnam County News and Reporter and to the Courier for bringing tonight's debate to the county seat, the hamlet of Carmel, my home. I want to thank each and every one of you tonight for coming and listening and hearing firsthand the differences between what I could bring and have brought to the county of Putnam as the county executive and my opponent as well. It's been a real privilege and honor to be the county executive of the county that I grew up in, the county that I raised my family in, the county that I was a community leader in, I was a legislator, and the county that I have been honored to serve as the county executive for the last 3 years. One of my greatest accomplishments has been the team that I've put around me. I've put the best and the brightest. I've brought people in from the private sector to work alongside those who have chosen government as a career. And I'm going to tell you something. There has been no finer collaboration of minds than that merge right there. With their ideas and their expertise, we've been able to run government services almost like a business. Almost. And I say almost because you don't make a profit in government. My opponent seems to think that there's a profit somewhere in the county budget, and that's really not true. We live day to day, just like you do in county government, just like I've done, paycheck to paycheck while raising my 2 kids. It's tough up there. Albany's not helping, the feds aren't helping, but every day we're getting in front of it. Our team of the best and the brightest every day come up with the great ideas that have helped sustain us to keep us under the cap, to underspend our budget, and we're going to do it again in 14, and I promise each and every one of you, we're going to do it again for the next 4 years if I have your confidence again and your trust to be the county executive, if you can vote for me to be your county executive on November 4th. Thank you very much.
Legislator Alder.
Thank you. I want to thank the PCNR, the Courier, and you, ladies and gentlemen, for being here, and our audience who will view this at a later date. This is a great privilege. I love the democratic process. People often ask me, Sam, why are you running for county executive? Well, I'm running for county executive because I believe the health and safety of the residents has got to be the #1 priority of county government, with a real focus upon our infrastructure and our environment. I believe that balanced government is the best form of government. One-party rule does not represent all the constituency. One-party rule is dangerous. I believe that the excess sales tax we generate, part of that needs to go back to the towns who got the excess sales tax for us by supporting the infrastructure of the businesses that they have. I also believe that this endless bonding has got to stop. We talked about that, and I'm very serious. $70 million in debt is way too high for me. $15 million in the past 3 years is way too high. All of us know you got the cash, you use the cash to pay. I strongly believe that during these tough economic times, you have to lead by example and tighten the belt. Therefore, yes, I will lower the salary of county executive from $148,000 to $102,000. I believe that the position of community liaison needs to be abolished. I would be the community liaison. I am the voice of the people of Putnam because you saw fit to elect me. I stand by that, and that is my pledge. And that voice will be used to scream very loudly to Albany. Tie your school taxes to income, and let us not drive our seniors and our young people out of this Hudson Valley. I also believe that Putnam County is the people's county, all the people's county, not just for the favored few. It has to be inclusive. It has to represent every political party. It has to be us. We are Putnam. And I promise you, you vote for me on November 4th. I will never let you down. Thank you so much for having me.